Police! Send the police!
What's the problem there?
The chimp killed my friend!
February 16th, 2009. A day that would end in blood, violence, and tragedy. Sandra Harold would not leave her friend of nearly 30 years' house the same. Instead, she would leave the night brutally attacked and her face completely mangled, her hands mutilated and her nose hanging by a thread, barely alive. An attack so brutal that the hospital staff that treated her wounds had to seek counseling after doing so. The animal responsible for this attack was a chimpanzee named Travis. Hey everyone, it's Wowman. Don't forget to subscribe, and in today's video we are going to be covering the disturbing true crime story on the case of Travis the chimpanzee. And what really drove me back to this disturbing true crime story that happened around 13 years ago is that the attack was heavily referenced in the most recent Jordan Peele movie, Nope. Now, I don't want to spoil too much in case you haven't seen the movie, but there is a lot of inspiration that is drawn from this 2009 attack. Now, to truly uncover why the chimpanzee attacked a woman so ferociously after being a well-trained pet for 14 years, we need to dive back into the past. Travis was born near Festus, Missouri on October 21st, 1995. Travis was born into a chimpanzee sanctuary, and only a few days after he was born, Sandra and Jerome Harold purchased him for $50,000, subsequently taking him from his mother and making them the adopted parents. His mother would never know what happened to Travis, as she was fatally shot a few years later, following an escape attempt from the compound. Travis had an entirely new life now, being owned by the Harolds, and he would never know about his chimpanzee roots, as he would be raised within a human society and not with other chimpanzees. As the years went on, Travis grew more intelligent due to the Harolds' intensive training of the chimp. Travis was able to do things that no other chimp had been seen to do before. Travis would reportedly open doors using keys, dress himself, water plants, feed hay to his owner's horses, and eat at the table with the rest of the family, and he would even drink wine from a stemmed glass, so he was very classy. And it was very evident that Travis had adapted to life among humans and had completely forgotten about his chimpanzee roots. And something that I found really interesting is that Travis even learned the ice cream truck schedule, so he would be waiting for the ice cream truck outside of the house before it would even come. So it's pretty impressive, all the things that Travis was able to learn while he was being raised by humans. Travis enjoyed watching baseball on television, logging onto the computer to look at pictures. He brushed his own teeth, and quite shockingly, he even drove a car on several occasions. I'm not sure whose idea it was to put a chimpanzee behind the wheel, although it does seem like a very terrible idea. And as the years went on, Travis actually became an animal actor due to his exceptional behavior and his intelligence, appearing in a Coca-Cola commercial as well as television programs such as The Mary Povich Show and The Man Show. And in his free time, Travis would even regularly wrestle with the neighbor. He would always ensure to watch his strength, and the neighbor was actually never hurt in any of the wrestling encounters. With all this considered, no one would expect this chimp to even hurt a fly, much less threaten to end a life. But on October 2003, the first sign of the chimp proving to be dangerous showed its ugly head. Travis and his adopted father, Harold, were on a drive and things were going well. Both Travis and Harold were enjoying the relaxing drive as they listened to music and both enjoyed the day. That is until a car passing by threw an empty soda can at Travis. And this angered Travis so much to the point that Travis jumped out of the moving car to pursue the individual. After seeing an angry chimpanzee running at them at roughly 25 miles per hour, the person fled the scene as fast as they could. With Harold still in the car, Travis was screaming at the opposing car as it grew smaller and smaller. However, this did occur in a very busy intersection, and groups of cars all witnessed this entire incident, all coming to a halt as Travis was blocking the entire intersection. Police soon arrived and attempted to lure Travis back into Harold's car with some of Travis's favorite snacks, but every time that Travis would hop back into his owner's car, he would immediately hop back out as soon as he would finish eating the snack. So it was kind of like a cycle. He would hop in, and then once he finished, he would just hop out. And this went on for a few hours. Travis would not go into the car and was even chasing officers around if they got too close to him. And as stated before, this went on for several hours as Travis grew more aggravated with each attempt at restraining him. Although luckily Travis was growing more tired as well, and authorities were finally able to get Travis back into the car by tranquilizing him as a last resort. The entire incident left a sour taste in the public eye. Travis had proven to have unpredictable outbursts, holding up traffic for hours and chasing officers. This incident led to the passing of a Connecticut law prohibiting people from keeping primates weighing more than 50 pounds as pets, requiring owners to apply for permits. This new law did take effect in 2009, 2 years after the traffic incident. However, by then, Travis would already be dead. February 16th, 2009. 6 years after the traffic incident. Harold, Sandra's husband, and Travis's owner had passed away a few years prior, leaving Sandra as Travis's sole owner/caretaker. And Sandra's friend Charla Nash had known Sandra for around 30 years and was present when Sandra had adopted Travis. So Sandra has known Travis since they brought him in when he was only a few days old. And now Travis is around 14 years old, and Charla has known him ever since he was a little tiny baby. Still, although Sandra and Charla were close, Charla has always been frightened of the chimpanzee, stating that he always made her uncomfortable. Having a 200-pound chimp in the house was something that she did not like at all. Regardless, Sandra was her friend, and this did not taint their friendship in any way. Charla would even on occasion feed Travis and look after him if Sandra needed her to. But one day something happened to Travis that set him off, similar to what happened at the intersection those few years ago. Travis was in a rage out of nowhere and grabbed Sandra's car keys and walked out of the front door. However, before following Travis outside, Sandra rushed to the phone and asked Charla to come over because she couldn't control Travis and she didn't know who else to call. Charla Nash subsequently arrived at the scene and witnessed Sandra trying to pull Travis back into the house. But upon seeing Charla step out of the car, his rage was now directed at her. And Charla Nash was holding one of Travis's favorite toys, a Tickle Me Elmo. Travis flew into an even stronger rage and launched himself at Charla, pinning Charla on the ground and repeatedly beating her with his 200-pound strength, ripping chunks of her flesh off her face. The chimp would not stop. Sandra was left crying, watching as the chimp she loved attack her best friend. Sandra called the police and begged them to come as quickly as they could.
Please.
Is the monkey still by your friend, or can you get close to your friend?
He's eating her. Please. God, oh, please.
Okay, I need you to calm down for me. I know it's hard, okay? I know it's hard. But they're going as fast as they can your way, okay?
Oh, my God. Please, hurry.
But as she was waiting, Sandra actually did attempt to stop Travis. As Travis was ripping Charla's fingers and nose off, Sandra hit Travis in the back of the head with a metal shovel. But this had no effect. Travis continued to mutilate Charla Nash, screaming in a fit of rage.
What criminal?
What's the
Send
problem?
the police. Send the police.
What's the problem there?
So Sandra grabbed a butcher knife and stabbed Travis in the back as hard as she could.
Shoot him, please. I tried stabbing him, and he's hurt now too. So he's gonna attack anybody. I can't get out of this car.
Sandra would even later say that, quote, "For me to do something like that, put a knife in him, was like putting one in myself." The chimp turned around, she said, as if to say, "Mom, what did you do?" A chimp she loved and raised for 16 years was tearing her friend apart, leaving Sandra to wonder, how could it all have come to this? When authorities arrived, Travis left Charla's body and headed towards the police car. He tried to open a locked passenger door and smashed a side view mirror. Then he went around to the driver's side door and opened it, at which point Officer Frank Chiafari shot him 4 times with his service pistol But after the 4 gunshot wounds, Travis was still alive. Surviving 4 close-range pistol shots to his body, he fled. However, the priority wasn't killing the chimp. It was saving Charla Nash. A medical team rushed Charla's brutally mangled body into the ambulance, while police stayed behind to neutralize the vicious chimp. Travis had left behind a blood trail from the gunshot wounds that had injured him, leading officers to exactly where he was. They found Travis inside of the home next to his cage, where he had died from blood loss. Travis was dead, but the damage he caused was still very much alive. Back at the hospital, doctors underwent intensive surgery on Charla Nash's body. Charla was brought in extremely poor condition, and it was a possibility that she may not survive due to the extremities of her injuries. But after 72 hours, Charla was finally stable. She had survived. However, the severity of Nash's conditions when she was brought in was so intense that the hospital had to provide counseling to its staff members who initially treated her. Paramedics noted that she had lost her hands, nose, eyes, lips, and mid-face bone structure, and had received significant brain tissue injuries. One of the doctors had even said that her hands had looked like they were stuck in a meat grinder. Another saying that when she was brought in, her nose was dangling by a single thread. Doctors reattached her jaw, but announced on April 7th, 2009, that Nash would be blind for life. Her eyeballs had to be taken out of their sockets because of the damage that they had experienced during the attack, and her hands were gone as well, leaving behind only one finger on her left arm. Her injuries made her a possible candidate for an experimental face transplant surgery. Her family subsequently started a trust fund to pay for the insane amount of medical bills and to support her daughter as well. Charla Nash revealed her damaged face in public for the first time on the Oprah Winfrey Show on November 11th, 2009, only a few months after the attack. She was not at the time in physical pain from the attack, and family members even said that she hoped to leave the Cleveland clinic soon after the interview. And Charla Nash is actually still alive to this day and is trying to send a message about the dangers of having an exotic animal like a chimpanzee in your home. However, as for Sandra Harold, the owner of Travis, her story ended very differently. On May 24th, 2010, 15 months after the attack, Sandra Harold died suddenly of a ruptured aneurysm at the age of 72. Her attorney, Robert Golger, released the following statement. Mrs. Harold had suffered a series of heartbreaking losses over the last several years, beginning with the death of her first and only daughter, who was killed in a car accident, then her husband, then her beloved chimp, Travis, as well as the tragic maiming of a friend and employee, Charla Nash. In the end, her heart, which had been broken so many times before, could take no more. And to this day, it is still unknown what exactly drove Travis to that point of anger that caused him to harm a woman who he would never think of hurting before. But there actually may be an answer to that question. After an autopsy of Travis's body, morticians found traces of Xanax that were found laced on Travis's teeth. And it was discovered later that Sandra would actually give Travis some Xanax from time to time as an attempt to calm him down. Xanax being a drug that traditionally makes the user calm and drowsy, but on occasion can cause memory problems and blurred vision. And what's more is that when Charla Nash arrived at the scene of the angry chimp, she did have a completely different hairstyle, and Travis, being off of that medication that Sandra did give him, seeing a complete stranger hold one of his favorite toys may have prompted the already infuriated chimp to attack Charla Nash. Again, because he was on Xanax, perhaps he didn't know who the person was. All he knew is that they had his favorite toy, and being already angry, perhaps this made him even angrier. As well trained as Travis was, he was still a wild animal, unfit to live in the human world. But yeah, that was the case of Travis the chimpanzee. My name is Wildman. Don't forget to subscribe. And huge thank you to all my beautiful Patreons: Inspector Dom, Miguel, Nodabot, Stans Furs, Kareem, Dylan, Mascarees, Robin, Anna, Cubery, Tensity, Estenia, Blah, and 10 Tiny Beasts. Thank you guys so much. You guys are truly awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. It's always super great. And yeah, thanks for coming back. And yeah, I'll see you. Bye.